Without a moment's pause, Ghislain rushed to hug his younger sister. Belinda and Elena looked on in astonishment. Elena, taken aback by her brother's unexpected show of affection, questioned his actions. Ghislain explained that he had missed her, but Elena pushed him away, calling his behavior creepy. Ghislain was surprised by her strength, having never realized how powerful she was. As she brushed off her clothes, Elena revealed that she had come because Belinda had invited her. She demanded to know what game he was playing and if he thought this would resolve everything. Confused, Ghislain asked what she meant. Elena reminded him of his past actions, recalling how he had once told her to leave him alone because she annoyed him and that he found her breath disgusting. Ghislain was horrified by this memory, recognizing that he had not been a good brother in his previous life. Overcome with guilt, he apologized to Elena for his past behavior. Belinda was shocked, having never seen him apologize first. Elena, skeptical, asked if he had hit his head, mentioning that she heard an orc had struck him during the raid. Ghislain, annoyed, questioned why both Belinda and Elena kept bringing it up, insisting he was the one who defeated the orcs. However, as he spoke, a sharp pain coursed through him, causing him to collapse. With a smug grin, Elena teased him, saying he had returned unconscious after fighting the orcs. Belinda and Elena laughed at the sight of him trembling, leaving Ghislain surprised by their amusement. Yet, deep down, he felt joy seeing them behave as he remembered, reflecting on his past. Ghislain regretted how much time he had squandered on trivial pursuits. He recalled the festival happening next week. In his former life, he had turned down Elena's invitation to attend together, citing the distress from the raid as his reason. That choice was the last time he ever saw his sister. In his past, Elena's mutilated body, along with her bodyguards, had been found. He couldn't shake the regret of not being there with her that day. As these thoughts weighed on him, a knock at the door broke his reverie. Two armored men entered, Jamal and Philip, Elena's bodyguards. Jamal informed Elena that they were waiting for her. Slightly irritated, Elena reminded them that she had asked them to wait outside. Apologizing, Jamal explained that the servants needed her help with the festival preparations. This surprised Ghislain, who questioned why the maids would assign such a task to Elena. Belinda, straightforward as always, pointed out that Ghislain was oblivious because he spent his days idling. She explained that Perdium was facing a labor shortage, which required even the young lady to pitch in. Ghislain was taken aback by this news. He couldn't believe there was such a shortage, though it made sense since his past self had never been involved in the estate's matters. Elena stated she needed to leave, but as she turned to go, Ghislain unexpectedly offered to help. Both Elena and Belinda were surprised. Elena, doubtful, questioned if her brother had truly suffered a head injury during the raid. Later in town, the servants were busy preparing for the festival. Elena could be heard reprimanding Ghislain, who had followed her despite her objections. She argued that his presence would intimidate the workers. Ghislain retorted, asking if this was how she treated someone trying to help. With a sharp response, Elena told him that the best way he could assist was by staying out of their way. As his sister attempted to push him away, Ghislain's thoughts drifted to the haunting memory of discovering her body in his past life. Her remains had been located near the slums, far from the festival area, leading him to believe that someone had either lured or forced her there. Determined to prevent a similar fate, he resolved to explore every part of the castle to identify any potential dangers. Amid the chaos, a soldier rushed towards them, addressing Ghislain as his lord. The familiar voice sparked recognition, and Ghislain realized it was old Fergus. Breathing heavily and wiping his brow, Fergus expressed relief at seeing his master safe. He humbly referred to himself as a mere servant and explained that he had come immediately upon hearing about the orc threat. Ghislain, annoyed by the constant reminders of the raid, quickly dismissed the subject. Elena approached Fergus, praising his timely arrival. With a mischievous grin, she mentioned that her brother had been acting oddly since waking up and asked Fergus to escort him back to his room. The old soldier agreed without hesitation, much to Ghislain's irritation. His notorious reputation as a troublemaker was becoming a hindrance even in moments like this. Accepting the situation, Ghislain decided to postpone his investigation of the castle until the following week. He then asked Fergus to take him to an abandoned training field on the estate. Fergus was surprised and inquired about Ghislain's reason for wanting to go there. With determination, Ghislain stated his intention to train. The old man was taken aback but complied. Upon reaching the training ground, Ghislain was pleasantly surprised by its excellent condition. The area was well kept, the weapons were in great shape, and the grounds were ready for use, far superior to anything he had experienced as a mercenary. Fergus explained that the facility had been maintained in case Ghislain ever wanted to use it. The old soldier acknowledged that he had always thought Ghislain's reckless behavior was just a phase he would eventually grow out of. Touched by the man's belief in him, Ghislain tapped Fergus's armor and expressed his desire to live a long life. With a serious look, he added that dying was a dreadful experience he never wanted to face again. The old man was taken aback by Ghislain's statement and questioned why his young master spoke as if he had already gone through life and death. Ghislain, smiling confidently, praised Fergus for his perceptiveness and revealed that he had indeed died and been brought back to life. Fergus brushed off the remark, claiming he had no time for jokes. Ghislain then told Fergus to leave, stating he wanted to start his training. Fergus bowed his head and complied, exiting the room. Alone, Ghislain contemplated how he had treated those around him in his past life, often viewing them as adversaries. He recognized that his narrow-mindedness had pushed away those who could have supported him. Memories flooded back, including the orchestrated death of Elena by a rival territory, which had used her demise to incite Perdium into war, ultimately leading to the downfall of his household. Elena's tragic death had been the spark for everything. Determined to change his family's destiny, Ghislain resolved to make amends in this life. To reach his objectives, he needed to enhance his physical strength and hone his skills. Despite the limited time, Ghislain was confident in his ability to master mana control. He settled into a lotus position and began to meditate. Mana, a mystical force that allows humans to exceed their limits, was known to be difficult to sense and manipulate. However, for Ghislain, it came naturally. Even in the midst of battle, he had effortlessly connected with the mana particles in the air, gathering them as if winding thread onto a spool. With his battle-hardened experience, forming a mana core was a simple task. Ghislain understood that having just one core was not enough. His rise as one of the 7 strongest men stemmed from his mastery of an advanced technique. Drawing from a half-burned magic book he had discovered in his previous life, he devised a way to create additional cores. By establishing a linked network of 2 or 3 cores, he could unleash tremendous power. As he channeled mana through his body, Ghislain cried out in agony, blood streaming from his nose and mouth. He felt disheartened to realize he could only manage to create 3 cores, whereas he had achieved 5 in his past life. Although the technique was potent, it required a vast amount of mana, and Ghislain was acutely aware of its constraints. This very method had left him exposed during his confrontation with Idun, where the noble knight had brought an entire order of knights to overwhelm him when he depleted his mana. Ghislain believed he would have triumphed if the battle had been fair. Despite the instability of his technique, he remained resolute. With youth and time on his side, he pledged to refine his method further. Anger surged within him as he vowed to take revenge on Idun and the treacherous allies of House Delphine, who had plotted against Perdium. He promised that this time, he would be the one to strike the final blow. The scene then shifted to the day of the festival. Ghislain donned his gear and headed to the festival grounds. When Elena spotted her brother, she was visibly taken aback. She approached him, inquiring if something was amiss and reminding him that he had never shown interest in such events before. Ghislain calmly responded that, as a member of the Perdium household, it was important for him to attend these gatherings from time to time. Elena eyed him with suspicion, noting that he had been behaving oddly lately. She mentioned hearing rumors about his week-long training routine, which was a significant change from his usual laziness. With a worried look, Ghislain tried to explain to his sister that it was normal for the heir of a noble family to train. Elena reminded him that he had never shown interest in such things before, and recalled how he once found their father annoying and was eager to take on the role of lord. Ghislain was taken aback to hear his own words echoed back to him. With a bright smile, Elena said she appreciated the changes in him, feeling as if he had returned to his old self. Ghislain reflected on the past week, realizing that his recent behavior was starting to change how others perceived him and his future opportunities. While he was lost in thought, he noticed Belinda giving orders to Elena's bodyguards, instructing them to handle any issues related to Ghislain on their own and to avoid problems, especially with so many guests around. The 2 men assured her they would take care of it. Despite the overall consistency of events, Ghislain struggled to gauge how his actions affected smaller incidents. He recognized that effectively using the information at his disposal was crucial, as he needed to react appropriately to each situation. Ghislain stayed close to his sister during the festival, carefully watching for any suspicious activity. After a while, Elena sat down and mentioned that she had enjoyed the festival somewhat, though it felt repetitive, and she wondered if there was anything new this year. Ghislain found it odd that nothing unusual had happened, speculating that his presence might have prevented any incidents. While he was thinking, a soldier approached Elena and suggested they check out other areas where new events were reportedly happening. The soldier explained that a friend had mentioned these activities and invited Elena to join him. Surprised, Elena took the soldier's hand, excited about the prospect of fun. As Ghislain watched, he realized that the two soldiers with them, Jamal and Philip, were traitors.